My name is Madison Zismer, and I am going to be presenting today on a campaign called Only If I Want. Burson, Cohn, and Wolfe was the PR firm that put the campaign on. They are a U.S. headquartered firm, but they put it on for Ella1, which is a German company, and the campaign was based in Germany. So I'm going to be talking a little bit about what the campaign was based off of and the key things that I learned from this case study. So basically, a little bit of a brief overview on the case study is Only If I Want was basically a way of promoting empowerment for women based off of a contraceptive that Ella1 had created. So basically what they wanted to do was promote empowerment without talking about the product. So they created this movement in Germany and a social experiment where they integrated feminism and sexuality for all women. And so instead of talking primarily about this product, this contraceptive, they were talking about how to empower women and create a conversation around these issues that I'll talk about in a minute. So basically, the campaign started June 16, 2016 with a launch video. I wasn't able to find online. There wasn't a lot of information about the campaign, but I did find that the video was launched on June 16, 2016, but I didn't find an exact timeline. I know that they're still releasing social media posts on their Facebook page and their Instagram to promote awareness, but I think that the campaign was meant to run, or like the course of it was 2016 to 2017, but I still think that there's stuff being posted, so it's ongoing on social media right now. The theme and the key messages of the campaign. So like I said, basically the campaign was created in order to promote a conversation about feminism and sexuality for all women. So there's a problem that Germany has been facing for many years, and it's that nearly 2.4 million women experience failed contraception each year, and they are not talking about it. So this is not an issue that is being talked about because Germany has extremely strict laws and regulations surrounding healthcare advertising, which I thought was very interesting. So a lot of companies that create contraceptions are not talking about these issues and advertising it. So basically what Ella1 wanted to do was encourage women to embrace their femininity and sexual choice and create more of an open space for women to talk about these issues on social media and with one another, and it really became a movement in Germany. It was the first time where this conversation was being had, and it also spread nationally. So here is a short little video basically describing the course of the campaign and some of the results, which I will get into more later, but I just thought that this video really really talked about exactly what it was about.
$2.4 million accidents occur in Germany, but not on the autobahn. In the bedroom, in the form of failed contraception. So how do we get women to use Ella1 when they don't even want to talk about the subject? Ella1 introduced
Und nur, wenn ich es will.
We also launched a provocative Facebook channel, turning our corporate website into a women's magazine, sharing those posts with popular female Instagrammers, YouTube stars, and Snapchatters. The result, Facebook fans surged to 400,000, Instagram likes reached 136,000, and website visits soared. The Oktoberfest video generated more than 100 million views, a 48% increase in sales, and a 13% increase in market share, all accomplished by not talking about our product.
So what I thought was really interesting about that video was, number one, the fact that LO1 was able to put on this campaign and increase their sales by 48% without even talking about the product. I thought that was absolutely crazy. But basically, like the video said, some of the main messages in this campaign were women are not talking about this issue of failed contraception each year due to a lot of the advertising regulations that prevent pharmaceutical brands from raising awareness. So there's a lot of strict regulations put on healthcare in Germany, and so people aren't having this open conversation and are not talking about these issues. And so what LO1 wanted to do was create a place, like a safe place for women to have this conversation and really feel empowered in their femininity and then also their sexual choices. So LO1 created a way for women to start really talking about these issues, and they let them choose for themselves. So the Only If I Want became a movement in Germany that spread nationally of empowering women in the bedroom and beyond and positioning LO1 as a smart and engaging brand. And I think that is one of the key aspects of this campaign is that they didn't talk about the product. They talked mostly about this, or mainly, if not 100%, about this idea of empowering women, and then that in the end reflected on LO1 as a brand and also created an increase in sales. So some of the ways that they did this were through, the campaign was primarily done on social media. There was a lot of social engagement, and I didn't find much on like in-person events, but that doesn't mean they didn't happen. I just couldn't find anything online about that. But the campaign was primarily on social media, on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, and then they also had a digital magazine where they really promoted this idea of love, sexuality, feminism, and they spread these like key messages about women empowerment. It was a movement of women speaking up for what they believe all across social platforms. And so by talking about these things, they also engaged really famous people on different social platforms to create more awareness of this message. So let's say there's a famous woman in Germany that many people look up to. They asked her to, put a video on Instagram or put a photo on Instagram, and then that created more engagement and more people looking at these messages. And I think another reason why this campaign caught fire and really engaged its audience was because it was something that had never been done before. So this is one of the first times that people in Germany were actually talking and having this conversation about sexuality. And this magazine, I think, was something that was rare and something that was different. And so it really engaged people. The messaging really engaged people. So like I said, their media channels were Instagram. They, over the course of the campaign, they gained 136,000 likes. On YouTube, they posted a video for Oktoberfest, which, as we probably all of us know, October is a huge month in Germany, and so for Oktoberfest, they had a video which gained a lot of media attention and had over 100 million views. And then on Facebook, I'm so sorry, this is a typo, but they had over 400,000 increase in fans, and then also their digital magazine took off with a lot of their messaging on feminism, woman empowerment, and love. So the evaluation of the campaign, like I said, this is the first time that women spoke up in Germany about sexual empowerment, which is a huge deal and a really, honestly, really, really crazy for how successful this campaign was. And Only If I Want also became a national conversation. So not only did it gain attention in Germany, but it also started trending nationally. And then I just read a Holmes report that basically said in 2017 that this campaign had already become Germany's most awarded healthcare campaign ever, which is crazy. And they increased their sales by 48% without ever talking about the product. So, by purely talking about how to empower women and how to really engage women with this idea of feminism and having a choice sexually, they in return reflected positively on their product and increased their sales by 48%. They also had 98 million impressions in 24 hours, which is a lot of impressions on social platforms. Um, and they grew their social audience by 4 times, which is a lot and is really crazy. And I think one of the main ways that they did that, like the video said, is through having prominent women and prominent people on Facebook and Instagram engaging with their target audiences and really spreading this message, which then caught like wildfire, and women across Germany were now talking about it everywhere. And so by having these famous women speaking on it, they then engaged lots and lots and lots of people, and they grew their social audience by 4 times. One of their awards that they won, I'm going to try to pronounce this the best that I can, was a Deutscher Press Award, Best in Health and Science and Life Science. And so they won that in 2017. Burson, Cohn, and Wolfe did. And for me, I think one of the biggest takeaways and like one of the most interesting things about this entire campaign was the fact that I don't think I realized that this conversation is not being had in Germany, because I feel like it's a pretty prominent conversation in America. And so for me, it was very eye-opening that this is something that really isn't being advertised and really isn't being talked about because of the regulations on advertising. And I think that it was just interesting that in Germany it looks very different. And so the biggest takeaway that I had was that you can really increase sales and send a message without ever talking about a product. I just think that was probably one of the craziest things that I learned from this, is that you don't even have to mention a product. It can just be messaging that's associated with your brand, and that can reflect positively on the actual product. And so Ella1 did that and increased their sales by 48% and their market growth by 13 shares, I'm pretty sure, and empowered women along the way, and they didn't even talk about a product. And so I think that is pretty powerful in and of itself. And I think that's about it. But it was very interesting learning about this whole campaign and everything that went into it. But here are some of my sources, and thank you so much for listening.